Friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're well. Club Nuit. Yeah. Club Nuit. It's got a few fragrances, a few flankers in that line. And guess what? There's a new one.
We got one!
That's right. It's Club Nuit Intense Overdose. Because Armaf said Versace is not going to be the only one that gets to overdose their fragrances. I want to play in that ball field too. So this one has popped up online. You can get this bad boy from Armaf. You can get this bad boy from JOMASHOP. $70 is the price at JOMASHOP as of this video. And that is also the price from Armaf as well. So that's the launch price, 70 bucks. I would assume as time goes on, it'll go down. But if you want to pick it up as I have here, that's what it's gonna cost you. That being said, I am gonna do a giveaway for one of these later on in the video because I picked up two. First off, guys, you know the drill. Let's take a quick look at this presentation and then I'll let you know where this one falls in the hierarchy of Club Nuit. Le box. On the front, not too much really, just the name of the fragrance, Club Nuit Intense Overdose. Up top, it says Armaf on one side, Extrait de Parfum, 100 mils is the size. On the other side, Club Nuit John Abraham Edition. And I have to say, I did have to look up who John Abraham is. I'm sorry about that. I didn't know right away. He is an actor, among other things. He's also apparently a Club Nuit enthusiast. On the back, you have your sticker of authenticity. You also have your ingredients. And then on the bottom, you're gonna find your badge code and barcode. And here we have the bottle. So it has kind of a similar look to the limited edition style, but it has like a little bit of a maroon tinge to it, kind of. Just like very faint. So it's like gray with a speckling of maroon. At least that's how it looks to me. It is an absolute fingerprint magnet. On the medallion on the front, you have the name of the house as well as JA. Your little crystal, you also have the name of the fragrance. On the side of the bottle, Club Nuit, John Abraham Edition. Once again, you've got Armaf on top of the cap. Kind of a red color scheme going on there with the cap and medallion. On the bottom, you have your badge code and a sticker as well. And they've stepped up the presentation in some small ways. Also, on the inside of the cap, it now says Armaf. Oh, nice touch. And then Armaf on top of the atomizer as well. All right, you know what time it is. Time to spray. It's all right. Now, as I mentioned, you can find this at JOMASHOP. You can also find it on Armaf's website. If you do pick this up from JOMASHOP, I have some codes you can use, which are right here. They do only work within the JOMASHOP app, so be aware of that, and they also change every quarter. Then, as usual, I have codes to other stores as well, like the Perfume Box and Beauty House, among others. All right, now to the fragrance itself and how it smells. The first thing that may jump out to you is one thing that jumped out to me right away. That's a couple of those notes hanging out there in the note breakdown. So yeah, the fragrance name, again, Overdose, and they have off the top blue crystals and then in the base white powder. Yeah, it's interesting.
Explain yourself.
Now, if you've ever watched the TV show Breaking Bad, you see the blue crystals off the top and that may ring a bell. And then white powder, I mean, you know. Yeah. I'm not exactly sure why you would want to put something in there that makes people think about, you know, blue meth, but you know, it's a choice, you know? Also, I'm not sure exactly how blue crystals are even supposed to smell, or if they even have a smell.
Tight, yeah!
So the actual opening here, how does that come across? Do you get the blue crystals? Well, in actuality, it's gonna fall right in that classic CDNIM lane. And you know what I'm talking about, the original CDNIM, the Parfum, the limited edition, Pursue 1, all of those. It's kind of right in that wheelhouse. It's gonna be closest to Pursue 1 as far as how those come across. Obviously, that means it could remind you a bit of Absolute Ventus by Creed. It's gonna be kind of in that styling. Now, the opening is one part that some of these CDNIM fragrances, just doesn't nail for a lot of people. It can be a little harsh, a little in your face, you know what I mean? The opening of this one actually smells pretty freaking good. I gotta tell you, it's pretty nice, man. It has a nice big pop of fruit as soon as you spray this on, so you're gonna get tangerine in there. You're gonna get pineapple. Not listed as an official note is blackcurrant. You definitely get that as well. And it has a little bit of a tang to it, so it's not just full on sweet. There is some sweetness there, but that tanginess that it has sort of balances it out. Stops it from going full on overload of sugary sweetness. You don't have to worry about that at all. It's also really nice and smooth. So as far as the overall quality goes, it's gonna be more in line, I would say, with like the limited edition version of CDNIM. Not that it smells the exact same as that one, but you're more in that territory than you are, say, the original CDNIM, which makes sense because this is not really priced like the original. It's priced like one of the more expensive ones, but it smells like that. So at least it has that going for it, you know, where you are paying more if you pick it up right now, you know, if you can't wait or anything, but at least it smells like you paid more. So there's that trade-off. So it has more of that polished, controlled sort of opening, where instead of having one note that stands out that's maybe screechy or something like that, it's blended together really nicely. Now, it doesn't have that big smoky pop. That big push of smoky birch is what I'm referencing there. Some of the other Club de Nuit Intense Man flankers have more of that going on. This one does have woodiness, and you can pick it up pretty early, actually. It's kind of like a semi-green woodiness underneath everything that becomes more prominent as the fragrance dries down. It just doesn't have the big smoky aspect to it. So it's more like the fruit is propped up over this masculine woodiness in the base rather than put up over a smoking bonfire, right? Bigger fruit, less smoke, more elegance. That's kind of the vibe here compared to most of the other CDNIM flankers out there. Now, in comparison to Pursue 1, which as I said is probably what this is most similar to as far as that whole Club de Nuit lineup goes, I would say by and large, this one probably makes more sense for most people, especially once it's been out for a little while and the price kind of, you know, drips down a little bit. And just Cliff's Notes versions on why I think that. So Pursue 1, smaller bottle, 55 ml size. This one, obviously 100 mils, you're getting almost twice as much with this one compared to that one. Also, this one to me, a little bit smoother, a little bit more of an emphasis on that fruity pop in the opening, slightly less scratchy to my nose compared to Pursue 1, just overall a little bit easier to wear while being right in that same wheelhouse. So, you know, you kind of add that all up and it's like, well, you know, between the two, this one makes more sense. Should they maybe have come out with this one instead of that one to begin with? Because they haven't really done much with the Pursue line at this point? I mean, you know, I'm not in charge or anything, but yeah. Now into the mid, this pushes even further into that absolute Aventus territory. A genuinely well done spin on that overall fruity, woody, fresh, spicy scent profile DNA. Scent profile DNA is pick one or the other. Scent DNA, scent profile.
Which one? Which one?
It settles in really naturally. It starts to get a bit of warmth that comes in underneath from that amber note. A touch of sweetness from that, but not too much. I will say, going back to those fantasy notes, you know, Blue Crystal, I don't really get anything here that makes me think of Blue Crystal. I think actually if you take that Blue Crystal note and you just poof that out of existence, take Black Currant and slot that into the spot where Blue Crystal was in the note breakdown, that's actually closer to how this actually smells. But you know, whatever, advertising. Marketing. In the mid of the fragrance as well, the fruit smells fantastic. Now, it's not gonna bash you over the head, but what it does is it has this kind of remnant of the opening that carries over. So bits of that citrus, that pineapple, the currant that I've mentioned like 15 times now, all of that slides down into the mid, and it gives you this rich, again, lightly tart kind of infusion into the woodiness that starts to come out the more this is on your skin. And it keeps the fragrance feeling alive. So it's not like bashing you over the head, but you continuously kind of pick up wafts of that fruit as this dries down. The plum, on the other hand, doesn't really hit me in a big way. So that's one of the other notes that kind of jumps out when you look at that note breakdown, the plum that's in there. But it's not really a huge part of the fragrance for me. If it's there, it's more like a faint undertone. You know, maybe you catch a whiff and you're like, is that plum in there? Maybe. Sure, I'll just say it is. You know, it's that kind of thing. I think if maybe the plum was ramped up, you know, really kind of overdosed, that it might have been possibly a more interesting twist because it would have given it more of its own styling, you know? At least to me. I mean, maybe some people would smell it and go, nah, that would throw everything completely out of whack. But I think if that were really ramped up, you know, when you smell this, you would be like, ah, that is Club de Nuit Overdose, and I can tell because X, right? Because the plum is very big, because this note is ramped up in every other fragrance that's kind of in this family, in this style. They don't have that, so I can tell immediately what this is. That's what I mean. Like if it had one defining point where you smell it and you know that is what makes it Overdose. Don't get me wrong, it still smells freaking awesome if you love fragrances in this style. It's just, that might have been the thing to push it over the edge. Or it also could have been the thing, like I said, to completely destroy it and make it smell like crap. So yeah, there is that too. When you gamble, when you roll the dice, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
You see, your actions have consequences!
Also, as it settles through the mid, you get more of those woody notes coming out. So there's patchouli in here. The patchouli is not earthy, it's not skanky, it's not dirty. It's more of a stripped back woody patchouli. Still have that amber in there, giving a little warmth, a little touch of sweetness. Tonka as well, which is kind of working hand in hand with that amber note. To its credit, it doesn't come across thick or cloying, which could be an issue because it's an extrait de parfum. You know, it's named Overdose and all of this, so you would be expecting it's gonna be like just a head splitter. You know, just give you a kicking headache as soon as you spray it on, because it's gonna be just this bomb of syrupy, sugary, walking death. Especially right now where it is insanely hot. You know, wearing this one, at first, when I first sprayed it on, I was like, we'll see how this goes. Because today it felt like 100 degrees Fahrenheit outside, 38 Celsius. So yeah, it was really, really hot. But thankfully, this one didn't crush me in that way. Now, in spite of it not being that cloying, it still does manage to have a really nice richness to it, especially for a fragrance that's made, frankly, to be worn whenever you want. And into the dry down, it stays remarkably consistent with how it smells in the mid. Basically, once it settles into the mid, it doesn't change a huge amount into the far dry down, which really works in its favor. You have maybe some additional woodiness that comes out as it dries down, but it still has actually a nice carryover of some of those fruity notes even hours after you've sprayed the stuff on. Obviously not as like sparkling and jumping off your skin the same way as when you first spray it on, but you can still get that same general outline of how the fruits come across. The woods stay masculine, they stay clean. It still stays more toward that polished side of things. You don't really get that smokiness even into the dry down, which, to be fair, you know, Absolute Aventus doesn't have that the same way that maybe some certain batches of Aventus do. You still have some faint sweetness along the edges of the fragrance, even into the far dry down. And like I said earlier, if you like fragrances like Supremacy Collector's Edition or Pursue 1, or even other things like Hasavad, you know, stuff like that, you should really enjoy this one. Now, as far as when you would wear this, you know, seasonality, whenever. Realistically, daytime, nighttime, any season, doesn't really matter. I don't think the insane heat I've had here the last couple of days is the perfect time to wear this, but it still worked. At least well enough. Realistically, would I reach for it typically when it's this hot? Nah, I'd probably go for something fresher, you know? But if you really like it, it worked, so, you know, fair enough. And in terms of performance, it is a Club de Nuit Intense Man fragrance named Overdose that is extrait de parfum concentration. So, yeah. Does it last a long time? Yes, it does. This isn't really one of those fragrances where you have to like squint at the concentration and think to yourself, is that actually gonna change anything, or is it just BS? No, the stuff lasts, it projects really well. I wouldn't go insanely heavy with it, but you know, you do you. So what's the overall verdict on Overdose, the pros, the cons? Now I know some people are gonna look at this and go, oh God, no. A Club de Nuit intense fragrance that's floating in the primordial ooze, the never-ending, everlasting soup that they just keep throwing crap into. It smells kind of in that Aventus family again, doesn't it? Yay. I know that's gonna elicit some groans, it's gonna make some people roll their eyes, because there are a bunch of them, aren't there? Yeah, there are, and they're all right there. I could go to that shelf right now and pull out like 10 different fragrances probably that have Club de Nuit on them and smell in the same family. So I get it, there's gonna be a whole lot of just, ugh. If you strip all that away though, which is hard to do, but if you strip all of that away and you just look at this as it smells, or I guess look at this, smell this for how it smells, it can easily hang with Collector's Edition, Supremacy Collector's Edition, and fragrances that are right in that wheelhouse. It's just as good, if not better, if you're looking for something that has a little more smoothness to it, and that really nice fruit punch when you first spray it on. So the main issue here is not gonna be the quality. Quality's great. It's gonna be the timing and the familiarity. And at 70 bucks at launch, that's gonna put this firmly in the upper tier of pricing as far as this line is concerned. So it's not really cheap enough where you would just be like, well, do you like the line? If the answer is yes, just get it. You know, it's not that much. Just toss it in your order next time and you'll be fine with it. The price hasn't now moved to like an upper echelon of pricing, so you have to give it more thought. Does it absolutely rip as an everyday type of fragrance that you can wear year round in the Absolute Aventus style? Yeah. Is it one of the best fragrances that you could get in that style? Also, yeah. Do you need to drop everything and immediately buy it at launch pricing? No. So the pros and the cons. First, the pros. It is a fantastic fruit-forward and woody CDNIM fragrance done somewhat in the Absolute Aventus style. It's smooth, it's polished, it's high quality, and like I said, the opening smells great. The mid and the dry down are both extremely wearable, very easy to pull off. And of course, it's got great performance, so you don't have to worry about reapplying over and over all day. Now the cons. The launch price, 70 bucks. Pretty high. Also, it is a CDNIM at the end of the day. You know, it's gonna slot right in there alongside of all its brothers. For better or worse, when you smell this, right away you're gonna know it is a form of Club de Nuit Intense Man. And then the final con, which is maybe not a huge con, the blue crystal and the white powder. Those are marketing fluff. It doesn't actually describe anything in the fragrance. And also, going back to that white powder, there's nothing really powdery in here. I mean, maybe if you really stretched your imagination, you could, but it's more so different types of woodiness that you pick up in the dry down, not powder. And I guess you could say, well, you know, there is like white powder, like Tuscan leather, Tom Ford, you know, that whole thing, if you know, you know. There's none of that going on here either. So it kind of goes back to what they did with Club de Nuit Bling, where they had some imaginary notes that they put in there to kind of, you know, spice up the note breakdown. Pretty much the same thing going on here. So there it is, Club de Nuit Overdose. Now, in spite of a couple of things I said, it does smell absolutely fantastic. But I am a massive fan of fragrances that are kind of in that Aventus, Absolute Aventus, Aventus Cologne wheelhouse. And with this one being as well done as it is, you know, it's kind of like a foregone conclusion that I would like the way it smells. If you hate that style of fragrance, this is not for you. Giveaway. So I got 2 of these in, the other one is upstairs. I didn't bring it down, but it's fully sealed and everything in the same order. So whoever wins, you can save 70 bucks, plus shipping, I guess. So if you want to be interested in the giveaway, all you have to do is like the video, be subscribed to the channel, leave me a comment. Tell me what is your favorite Club de Nuit of all of the Club de Nuits that have come out. I'll pick a winner with random comment picker, post it up on the post tab of the YouTube channel. If you're the winner, hit me up, I'll ship it out to you. Good luck. I want to thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, take care of yourself. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.